Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, I'm Dennis Bragg. Jill Valley is off tonight. The continuing snowfall is creating slick roads all across western Montana, resulting in multiple accidents. Crews have been scrambling to keep up with a flurry of calls. Our Storm Tracker weather team says snow and blowing snow is creating difficult travel conditions so far for those taking their Christmas travel today, especially out in the highways. So take it easy on the roads. Allow yourself some extra time to get to your destination. Places like I-90, we're down to emergency travel in the east side of Missoula County today. And it looks like the next system will bring more snow starting late Christmas Eve. For the very latest, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Darren Yost. Darren?
Yeah, things staying pretty slick throughout the evening, especially as colder air continues to arrive from the east. Now, this was Hamilton a short while ago in the downtown area. First Security Bank ICAM already now between when this image was taken to now starting to see snow accumulating on the roadways there. Now, we do continue to see that moving through mainly west, central, and southwest Montana, and we will hold on to this here for the rest of the evening. Winter weather advisories here in purple through 11 o'clock tonight. Storm total 3 to 7 inches in the valleys located here. We have upgraded warnings though for the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys, Butte, Blackfoot, Potomac, and Seeley Lake regions through 11 o'clock for those roadways becoming increasingly slick again as that cold air arrives. I've got a forecast update into the holiday weekend on the way.
Thank you, Aaron. And to keep an eye on all these changing conditions, and they're changing fast too, all you need is a mobile device. Just download the KPAX Storm Tracker weather app to get on-the-go forecast from our Storm Tracker weather team. Police departments across the state are stepping up patrols to crack down on drunk driving this holiday week. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention study shows that in a 9-year span, this is in the state of Montana, 932 people were killed in crashes involving a drunk driver. 1.9% of people in the nation reported driving after drinking too much, even more in Montana, 3.4%. The U.S. National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism also reported that 40% of traffic-related deaths during Christmas and New Year's involved drunk drivers, a 12% increase from the rest of the month of December. And of course, in these kind of conditions, it makes it even more dangerous. Kalispell Police Department Administrative Captain Wade Rademacher says that the roads are already bad enough with this weather, and alcohol just makes it worse.
This last week, roads are very dangerous, and if you combine alcohol with that, it makes them even more dangerous. So we're trying to caution people anytime they're driving to take extra care, and especially if people are going to be out celebrating, to have a designated driver.
Kalispell Police, Polson, Missoula, Hamilton, everybody, including the Sheriff's Departments, will all have extra patrol cars out through New Year's Eve. President Donald Trump signs the Republican tax reform bill into law. Mr. Trump put pen to paper on the measure this morning at the White House. The signing came just days after both the House and Senate passed the measure, giving President Trump his only major legislative victory in his first year in office. The president also signed a continuing resolution keeping the U.S. government open until January 19th. That spending measure includes $4 billion for missile defense. Analysts are looking at what the new law will mean here in Montana. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian takes a closer look at the potential impacts to Montana taxpayers and to the state budget.
Since Congress released the final version of its tax reform plan, the State Department of Revenue has been working to apply it to Montana.
We're trying to determine what the fiscal impacts to the state of Montana and to Montana taxpayers are.
The department estimates more than 3/4 of households in the state will see a federal tax cut of at least $50 a year. 20% will see a smaller change, while 1.5% will have to pay at least $50 more. For people making $20,000 to $64,000 a year, the average tax cut will be around $943.
The bottom line here is almost $750 million will now stay in Montana and stay in the economy here. So we're excited about what that will mean in increased economic activity.
Revenue Department Director Mike Kadis also released a memo outlining the new law's possible effects on the state budget. He says Montana could lose $29 million in individual income tax and $17 million in corporate tax during the 2018 tax year. Montana Chamber of Commerce President Webb Brown says it's something his group has been thinking about.
We're concerned about that, having just come through a special session, but we believe in the long run this is beneficial, and so now we need to get to work on how we can make the adjustments in Montana.
Kadis says the Revenue Department has only begun its analysis of the tax bill's effects.
You know, it's a 500-page bill that fits into several thousand pages of code. I think every everything that you see now is preliminary, and we have to have time to kind of work through all the details of it.
In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
The Revenue Department's estimates are based on a calendar year. The governor's budget office will make its own determination of what the changes mean for the state's financial picture, which is based on the fiscal year that runs from July to the following June. Governor Bullock today said that Montana's unemployment rate is steady for most of 2017, saying workers and families are heading into the holidays with a strong economy driving growth in local communities across the state. The state says the unemployment rate was 4% for the month of November. By comparison, the U.S. unemployment rate remains at 4.1%. Over the last 3 months, Montana has added about 1,400 payroll jobs. Total employment, which includes payroll jobs plus the self-employed and agricultural workers, remain fairly steady. Based on the data posted so far, Montana expected to finish the year with unemployment growth of 0.8% and a wage growth nearly double what we saw last year.
Salute to Service is brought to you by Flathead Electric Cooperative, your not-for-profit member-owned co-op.
The Civil Air Patrol has been performing missions across the United States for 67 years, and today's Salute to Service, MTN's Nicole Miller has more on their year-round mission.
In December of 1941, World War II was underway, and a vigilant organization of civil airmen formed the Civil Air Patrol to carry out emergency missions.
As CAP members, we're in the auxiliary of the Air Force, and so we're deeply tied into the Air Force and their traditions.
Montana Civil Air Patrol Wing Commander Mitch Edwards is based at the Air Force Base in Great Falls. He oversees the 10 squadrons in the state.
We have almost 300 members across the state, and everything that they do for the local communities in our state, it's greatly appreciated.
Edwards is just one of 57,000 members nationwide, helping to preserve CAP's 75-year legacy of service. Another is Michael Stone, captain of the Flathead Composite Squadron.
One of our operational missions is finding downed aircraft and missing people. We have a worldwide high-frequency communication network.
In 2016, the Civil Air Patrol helped with more than 1,100 search and rescue missions, and they're credited by the Air Force Rescue Coordination Center with saving 110 lives. Reporting in Kalispell, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
Civil Air Patrol volunteers also perform homeland security, disaster relief, and counter-drug missions at the request of federal, state, and local agencies. When Hurricane Maria hit the island of Puerto Rico, they were the first ones to establish communication in that environment.
Salute the Badge is brought to you by Montana Railing, supporting the Main Street of Montana for 30 years.
In weather like we're having, emergencies move to an entirely new level of challenge. Deep snow, extreme cold, and our mountain terrain present problems unique to the Northern Rockies. Even for a city fire department like Missoula, training to deal with winter rescues needs to be a part of the equation.
To start out with, it's going to be some land navigation. We're going to be given coordinates or a pretty basic or a remote location of a patient. From there, we'll get to the patient and do a patient assessment, patient care, patient treatment. And then all that hopefully will end up with a patient extraction. So getting them back down to a place where they can get either airlifted or ground transportation.
The individual is lying in the woods approximately 50 feet off the trail.
Missoula firefighters recently spent a long day training at Snowbowl, rescuing a gunshot victim from a wooded area, with a second team trekking far up the mountain for a patient who'd fallen from a chairlift. That requires anticipating not only the medical and rescue equipment, but what the teams need, from GPS units to food, water, and even the ability to shelter and start a fire as needed. And they need to stay safe themselves, even though this is just training.
We just talked about that in our safety briefing. We actually have an incident within an incident plan, basically, and if one of us, anybody up here that's involved today gets injured or sick, then that becomes first priority.
For Lohman, training the MFD crews is not only a passion, but an absolute necessity. In a community as varied as Missoula, with as much outdoor recreation as we have, you just never know what emergencies might happen.
Everything's new, and that's kind of the nature of the business is you don't know what you're going to get any given day. And so that's the experience, is trying to train for what you don't know you need to train for. Perfect example of that was the avalanche just a few years ago. So who would have thought you know, we have avalanche in town. So if we have the training and the experience and the tools, we hopefully can be prepared for any type of situation.
And the firefighters say you can help by being prepared yourselves when heading out for recreation, especially in these kinds of conditions. We'll have more on that in a future Salute the Badge report. For the past few months, we've been, actually the last year now, Montana Rail Link has teamed up with us to honor the men and women that dedicate their lives to serving us with our Salute the Badge series. And we're going to have a very special program coming up tomorrow night. We recap and replay some of the favorite episodes we've had in meeting these great men and women. That retrospective airs at 6 o'clock as we share many of our favorite stories from Salute the Badge. Coming up, Erin is tracking very icy road conditions across western Montana. She'll have the latest in a few minutes. Plus, Amazon finishing its Christmas rush, and you may be surprised who's shipping millions of those packages, an army of RV-dwelling retirees. That's coming up on KPAX.